From the world of AV programming and control with James King, I'm Steve Greenblatt, and this is Ask the Programmer. Hey, James, how are you today? I'm glad that we're back and we get to welcome back our returning guests from last week.
I'm doing good, Steve. Looking forward to this conversation. And how are you doing?
Not bad at all. It was a great episode. If you didn't get to listen to episode 245, we got to welcome Chris Kelly from Creighton University, and we get to bring him back now. But if this past episode, he got to talk about his background and so forth and his journey here. So please check that out, and that'll give you some context for this episode. But without further ado, welcome back, Chris.
Thank you. Glad to be back.
Thanks for being with us. And Chris is the senior IT support specialist at Creighton, and he's also a HETMA Advisory Board chair. I should share that. And in the past episode, he got to talk a little bit about his unique background in coming to AV and in coming to programming. He was involved in social work, and James. Um, you had some thoughts at the end of the last episode that you wanted to expand upon, so I'll let you take it from here.
You see, yeah, I held on to this for a week now. So, Chris, like you talked about, you came from a field that had nothing to do with technology, let's say. So my question to you is, because I hear this a lot, is, well, I'm a programmer, I'm an installer. Why do I need to know that? How is that going to help me in my job? I'm a programmer. Why do I need to know how people think? So speak on that, Chris. How does your training help you be a better IT person and all that stuff?
I don't know that I could be where I am without those softer skills, if you want to call it that. Um, there's so much value in that. You can be the best at knowing the code and how to make things work, but if you don't know like what someone's going to want for their user experience, it's not going to go very far. You can have a great idea of, okay, I've got this very pragmatically laid out controller for people, and I know best because I'm the programmer. But without being able to connect with people to try and put yourself into the shoes of people and see things from their perspective, it's only going to go so far. Um, Also, very few people, especially when you're starting out in things, are not going to be having to deal with people. Uh, a lot of folks talk about, particularly when you're doing any kind of a support role, it can be more important to know how to deal with the person than it is to deal with the problem. Um, you're often coming up to someone that is in a crisis. They are not able to do the thing that they were hired for. Something that we have some amount of control over is preventing them from doing their jobs. And that can result in a variety of reactions and emotions from those people. And being able to kind of empathize with that to some extent and connect with them and get them feeling heard can go way farther than just bouncing in and fixing a problem will ever go. We're in a time where a lot of things can be fixed completely remotely without ever having to go to a classroom, without ever having to actually, be there physically touching something. But that connection with the person, and I had just written an article about this for the Higher Ed AV magazine, sort of taking off of Simon Sinek's Starting with Why, and the idea of, yes, you can fix a problem, but you need to know the why of what you're doing. You need to have some internal sense of the greater benefit of the thing that you're doing. Otherwise, you're not going to last very long at doing it, and you're probably not going to do a very good job from the user experience perspective while you're doing it. So thinking about the why you are fixing this to enable a learning experience, to enable that instructor to be able to give these students what they're there for, to enable the next generation of doctors, the next generation of politicians, the next whatever, being able to analyze some of those things. And if you're just someone that sits and programs and only thinks in the bare essentials of the code, you're not going to be processing on those things as well. And I wouldn't be able to do that sort of thinking, that sort of rationalizing, that sort of empathizing without those soft skills that I've gained.
No, that's a good point because I mean, I have said this numerous times. I say it a lot is tech is easy, people are hard. Yes, understanding people. And I kind of come to the same approach. It's like the why. I do like Simon Sinek, the why. Understanding why we do things. Like I find it kind of more frustrating on my end when I'm sitting there talking to other tech people and they're like, well, these people keep hitting it wrong. And I'm like, they're not trying to do it purposely. They're not trying to be malicious. So why are they hitting it wrong? Why are they doing what you think is incorrect? Is there a workflow wrong? Like, is there something wrong in the workflow that we need to address? Um, or oh, they shouldn't be touching that button. Then why that button there? Like, if they shouldn't be touching it, why are you giving them the option to touch it? Like, people like to touch things.
This is just like I think gold for people that are looking to be able to expand their effectiveness and their reach. We talk about a lot, how do programmers advance themselves and how do they build a career, and much of that has to do with being able to interact with other people, whether that's how you learn or whether that's how you grow. And then, some may choose that they want to manage, but I don't know that I think the days of being, kind of locked in a closet and just writing code, it doesn't really get you as far. And I think with AI, it's probably going to be even less effective because you can't use AI to really interact with people or replace people that easily. That when to be able to have that personal connection.
Like the saying goes, people will forget what you did, but they will remember how you made them feel.
Yeah, it's never just a solution. There's always something more to it. Every event has a story, and being able to help make that story turn out a better way than just, yep, projectors on.
I mean, I love the crisis management part of it too, and just we all have faced a situation where somebody has been frustrated or upset, or you have to deal with a client that maybe it's misaligned expectations, but being able to diffuse that situation is critical. I think for any programmer to work through it's very rare that you can avoid being in that situation. And
Part
I also, like the idea of, looking at not necessarily how to change the person, but how to change what you did to be able to better accommodate what the person needs.
part of the training when I worked at the inpatient mental health hospital was nonviolent crisis intervention training. So part of that is the physical restraints and that sort of thing. Not so important here. But another large part of any of that training is the verbal, learning how to hear what a person is saying, getting to the core of it, particularly in mental health. A lot of times you couldn't agree to what they wanted. I mean, they might want something that is not on a reality basis, and learning how to find the core of what that person wants, even if it's not the exact thing, that may not be an option, but connecting with that core and finding some way to meet them in the middle and give them something to work with them a little bit, uh, to try and help connect, build that personal relationship, and be able to get to a resolution some way that gives them some, gives you some.
It sounds, I mean, that's probably the basis for negotiation skills, which have tons of business, impact. So really cool, really good stuff. Um,
So yeah, I would encourage anyone, don't underestimate the value of any of the social sciences, and even to the things like the critical thinking, philosophy. any of that stuff has worth um, in general. I mean, there's plus, we work in a field where you never know what people's backgrounds are. People might have come from an English background. They might have come from a variety of places. You can teach tech, like that's, but learning how to work with people can be a bit harder to just read in a book how to do.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
I think that that's a great point of advice too. If you're looking for an opportunity, is that you want to hire the person and you want to hire their potential, not necessarily their skills. So that's really great advice. In the previous episode, Chris, you talked a little bit about your role at HETMA. Can you talk a
Oh,
little bit
I
more
told you
about
I'll mess you when I'm done.
what's
Yep.
what your role involves and also some of the upcoming things that are going on at HETMA?
Yeah, definitely. I would love to. So, as the advisory board chair, each one of our paid annual sponsors is offered a certain number of advisory board meeting sessions with us. Within these, it's an hour-long meeting where someone from that company is able to connect with people from higher ed to talk about what they want. Some of them, it's exploring what a pain point that we have. So maybe something that we just don't have a great solution to fix. Some of them might talk about something new that they have coming up. And maybe under an NDA, we are talking with them about, okay, how will people in higher ed use this? Is this something that's of benefit to you? Is this something that we would push? Do we want to look at, should we have USB-C on it? Should we, modify it slightly? Looking for use cases that we might have. It might be talking about a product that they recently had coming out and asking us, how are we using it? What's the benefit of it to us? Um, and just having some of those really great conversations that they might not be able to get because at an infocom at some of the bigger shows it's like you have that very limited ability to really interact and you might not be able to connect well because you're go go go. So it gives that really good point of connection and finding some people that you might not otherwise have a chance to talk to. uh, a lot of folks might be at small schools that the idea of getting someone from Extron to come out and talk to them, the idea of getting someone from some big name to come talk to them might be a challenge. It might not be something that's so much a reality for them. So this gives them that chance to really talk about what their use case might be and some ways that it can benefit them. And we've definitely had things where we gave ideas at advisory board meetings, and a year down the line, the product was released based upon the input that we gave. We literally helped craft a solution that then we were able to put in our classrooms and use. So a really great opportunity that people have been able to use to get things and changes that really influence the higher ed vertical. I've also been working and helping on the higher ed AV media website, where we, post articles and have a lot of different content from, whether it's our podcasts that happen under higher ed AV media or the article side or different features from our sponsors. And I've, I started slowly with it, just bringing back the higher ed tech manager spotlight feature, bringing that back to life, and then started writing an article series on empowering people, largely focused on accessibility and things like that. So I now have a monthly uh, article that I write based largely on accessibility and just different uh, things that might be affecting folks in higher ed AV related to that. So it's been really interesting and good to get involved in that and then seeing the process of how we maintain that site and working on editing articles, getting everything posted, and yeah.
Very cool stuff. One thought that I have is that this is a great example of that shows that manufacturers do want feedback and they are listening and they are, out there trying to make products that are going to be as usable and effective as possible. So that's really great. And of course, the other side is we we are here, producing content is really wonderful way to be able to get different voices heard as well as to share ideas and attract an audience because there's so many different niches in this industry. Well, it's been a great couple episodes having you, Chris. Thank you for being a guest here and contributing to the show and just sharing some perspectives that we haven't been able to provide before. So if people want to get in touch with you, if they want to continue the conversation and learn more about what you're doing, how would they do so?
Yeah, through LinkedIn is the primary way to get a hold of me. I can also be reached through the HETMA community, through the advisory at hetma.org address, or just in the community in general. We have a large posting space for people to be able to ask questions, talk, network, connect. It's a great place to go for anyone free to join, and a great resource for any sort of knowledge. And just a shout out to anyone. Like, I am definitely not a any decent level of programming. You don't have to be an absolute pro in programming or some well-known pinnacle of the market to be able to be on Ask the Programmer. Obviously, wonderful folks here between Steve and James. So I know that they're always looking for people to join on. So it's a good time, just as a little throw out there.
Thanks so much. Appreciate that. Two great testimonials. We're definitely going to have you back. We certainly appreciate that, and a testament to you too, because this isn't the only podcast that you're on. I know you've been making a big effort to get yourself out there, and it shows. So kudos to you.
Yeah, it's a lot of what I try to do is to challenge myself, like, because a lot of it is anxiety provoking and a lot of it is easy to justify my way out of doing, but just putting myself out there, doing the experiences, learning the things, making the connections is something I would recommend to anyone. Just because it's scary doesn't mean it's not going to be great for you to do and advance things in a number of ways. So I encourage everyone, just get out there. You will learn so much more than you will by staying in your comfort zone.
Love that. Love that. Thank you so much for that. James, any closing thoughts? Anything that you wanted to share, and also how people can get in touch with you and continue the conversation?
Closing thoughts. If you take nothing out of this episode but Chris's last statement, perfect. That's a whole episode of its own. Maybe we'll have Chris back for another time for that episode. Great, right there. Again, if you want to get a hold of me, Google me. You'll find me. I'm out there. I'm on LinkedIn. As the program community, again, AV_James King. I'm out there. Just Google me.
Wonderful. And for me, you could reach me at Steve Greenblatt on social platforms. The LinkedIn is also the primary one for me, and the Ask the Programmer group is something that we want to continue to grow and also continue to populate. So we are feeding it with information and episodes, but we also encourage our listeners to do the same. So please join us there and connect with us as well. My company, Control Concepts, is a supporter of this podcast, and we help programmers by providing some of the building blocks that they need to either integrate products or add functions and features to their projects. So you could find more about that on controlconcepts.net. This podcast is on video on YouTube as well as audio on your podcast platform of choice. Uh, Connect with us there, leave a rating review, let us know what you think. And as Chris said, reach out. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. And we also want to continue to bring new voices and new topics and new ideas to this podcast. So, with your help, we can do so. And we appreciate you listening and watching. So, until next time, this has been Ask the Programmer.